Okay, happy Friday, everyone. Find a way to sit comfortably and tall. So I sat down to paint the other day, finally, after months of having the itch. And interestingly, as I was starting to paint with music on in the earpiece, I started to feel rigid. I got into really like trying to plan and control what was going to come out on the canvas. And I felt judgment and all of that starting to pour out, and expectations feeling inhibiting of creativity. And then a moment came when the music changed, and then I started to allow myself to just actually paint over what I just did, cross some colors, and get a little more spontaneous, have a little play with it. And it started to feel so much more enjoyable, where I went to sit down for an hour and it turned into a few hours. And it came to the point of me not really caring so much what the outcome would be, but the feeling of allowing myself to be a channel that wasn't inhibited felt so liberating. So here is a quote from a wonderful book about self-love. It's actually an autobiography by Anita Moorjani, Dying to Be Me, who recounts her near-death experience after an unexplained spontaneous healing from cancer. So she was interviewed, and she says, "My experience gave me a glimpse into what it feels like to be set free from the need for both physical and psychological certainty. In other words, it was possible for me to feel perfection, even amidst ambiguity. Maintaining that level of mental liberation is true freedom for me." So as I said, our special animals here today are going to add to that level ambiguity. But how do we find ourselves within a pose, within a movement, within painting on a canvas, or in times where uncertainty is kind of the predominant reality, and find perfection? Find a sense of ease, maybe allowing ourselves to be okay with not knowing what's going to happen next. So as we flow to the physical practice of yoga, that's the theme I'd like to invite you to digest. So let's begin sitting tall and grounding the left and right sitting bones, lifting the spine upright, drawing the shoulders slightly behind you and down. As you rest your hands in your lap, or maybe your chest and belly, just take notice of how your body is breathing right now, the quality of your breath. Feel the perfection of that in itself. Notice any sensations in your body, giving you awareness of how you might tailor this physical practice today in order to feel balanced. Mentally, emotionally, what would you like to focus on? As you join your hands at your heart center, perhaps clarify your intention. Sprinkling this play of allowing and finding, seeking a sense of contentment within uncertainty. Let's open the space, feeling the vibration as we give and receive it of the chant of Om. Take a deep inhale. As you explore deeper breaths, feel where in your body that expansion moves. Opening the mouth to audibly exhale, whispering sound. Deepening the breath in, exploring a little more space within the body. Opening the mouth to feel a sense of release and ability to let go. Drawing on the power of your breath, that constant taking in and allowing and releasing, to be a teacher in of itself, as you start to feel balance of breathing in and out through the nose. So that in closing your lips, you start to warm up using Ujjayi Pranayama. Let's make our way down into child's pose. We'll take a gentle lower back stretch there to begin. So as you bring your feet together to touch towards the rear edge of your mat, bring your knees together or apart, as wide apart as necessary, so that your pelvis can easily drop down to your feet as you stretch your arms forward. Now separate your hands at least shoulders width apart and reach the fingertips actively forward so that you're also drawing the hips and shoulders back, lengthening your neck, lengthening your lower back. Bring your mind's eye across your sacrum and take a deep inhale to broaden across your lower back. Feeling the muscles there as you exhale, begin to unwind, unravel, and soften. Feeling expansion. Exhaling, feeling softening. Deep muscles rest there. One more time, breathing in through the nose. And just as slowly whispering the breath out through the nose. Now, as you start to walk the hands over to the right, reach outside of your mat as far as you can while keeping your left hip drawing back towards your left heel. Feel a little more breath expand into the left side of your lower back, left side of your waist. As though you could give your body a massage with the breath from the inside. Walking your hands through center, reach over to the left. Drawing the right hip back towards your right foot. Allow the breath to open space in the right side of your lower back. Easing the breath in and easing the breath out. Bring your hands through center again, and as you point the index fingers forward parallel to each other, spread the thumbs wide and flat, and bring your attention to your shoulders. From there, rotate the outer sides of your upper arms or triceps downward towards the mat, so that the inner creases of your elbows begin to face each other, maybe slightly towards the ceiling. Now, as you lengthen the neck, separate your feet at least hips width apart, and tucking your toes, begin to lift your hips into downward facing dog. Bend your knees generously here as we try to find the fullest length of the spine, using the hands to root into the earth and forward, while drawing the hips high and back. Now, as you firm the belly towards the back, begin to pull your hips towards the wall behind you, shifting more weight towards the rear of the mat. And then maybe take a moment to pedal the feet slowly in place, giving the backs of your legs some movement and stretch, breathing in, breathing out harmoniously. Feel the space along the sides of your neck as you let your head hang freely, maybe giving it a little shake to loosen it up, while still broadening the shoulder blades by rotating the outer sides of your upper arms downward towards the ground. Feel the thumb and index truly rooted. And now, holding still, feel free to bend the knees as much as you need to maintain the most length in your spine. No rounding in the shoulders, a lot of space in the neck. With the belly firm, inhale, glide forward into plank pose, top of a push-up. Now, as you look forward in front of your hands, you could always set the knees down if you feel that you want more support, but lift your lower belly towards your spine. Lift the sides of your waist. Keep spreading the shoulder blades apart. Lengthen through the sides of your neck. We've got about 2 more breaths. If the legs are still straight, actively press the heels back, firming the fronts of your thighs. We're going to take a modified version of lowering into a vinyasa. To modify, place the knees on the ground if they're not already. Shift forward, bend the elbows back to hug the side ribs and lower the chin first. Then slide the belly to the floor, straightening the legs flat. So your wrists are alongside your floating ribs. Hug your elbows to your sides. Ground every toenail and breathe in to lightly lift your chest as you look forward on the ground. A few breaths here, baby cobra. Let your tailbone then press through your hands. Lift up to all fours, spread the fingers flat, and lift the hips again, downward facing dog. We're going to take a spinal twist here. So in downward dog, step your feet forward another foot, maybe 2 feet, which makes it even easier if you want that, and separate your feet about as wide as the width of your mat. Keep your left hand on the ground, cross your right hand in front of your left shin to catch the outside of your left calf or ankle. Then try to ground your right heel more deeply as you tack the right hip back. Look under your left armpit towards the sky and feel your rib cage turn, letting the head fall. 2 more breaths. Breathing in, exhaling as you deepen the twist. Then set your right hand down, cross the left hand to the outside of your right calf or ankle. Ground the left heel more deeply and tack the left hip back as you look under your right armpit towards the sky, relaxing the neck. 2 more deep breaths. As you breathe out, feel your belly slightly hollow, so the navel draws in towards the spine. Then set your left hand down and walk your hands back towards your feet, arriving in a wider version of a forward fold, so feet are a little wider apart. Bend the knees, drop the chin towards the chest, release the arms to hang, and with the feet firmly grounded, belly engaged, inhale to slowly roll up. If you're needing support for your back, walk your hands up your legs as you roll up, lifting your head last. Shrug the shoulders as you arrive at the top. Then with a big exhalation, roll the shoulders behind you and down, flipping the palms to face forward. Heel toe your feet, hips width apart, mountain pose. Let's start to flow with the breath again. Inhale, sweep the arms overhead. Watch your palms touch. Exhale, hinge from your hips, maybe bending the knees as you're warming up your back. Press your hands on the floor, your legs. Inhale, lengthen the spine forward. Exhale, fold again. Firm down to your feet. Inhale, rise up, look up. Exhale, center your palms at your heart. Let's try 2 more rounds, hearing the sound of your breath. Let your body follow it. Inhale, the arms up. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, lift your heart, lengthening the spine. Exhale, bow again. Firm the legs. Inhale, rise tall, look up. Exhale, back to your heart. 1 more. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, arms overhead. Exhale, bow, Uttanasana. Inhale, half, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale again, Uttanasana. Inhale, root through the legs and rise tall, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, the hands down by your sides in Tadasana. So let's step up to the front of the mat. We're going to do a little Tai Chi to play with balance as we prepare for yoga posture. So set your feet hips width apart, parallel. Imagine you're balancing a book on your head. So you're trying to keep the spine upright, not rigid, belly is engaged. Shift your weight onto your right foot. And as you breathe in, raise the left knee in front of you and flex the foot. Pause here. Palms are reaching forward. Level out your 2 hips. And take an exhale to step the ball of your left foot back as you sweep the arms behind you, coming into a lunge. Let's take this back and forth of 4 more rounds. Inhale, come forward, spine upright. Exhale to a lunge, spine upright. Keep going, breathe in. Breathe out. Really nice and slow, breathing in. Breathing out, warming up the hip as well. Last round, inhale. And exhale, step the ball of your left foot back, bend your left knee, bring your hands to your hips, and level your 2 hips as they both face forward. Make sure that your feet are hips width apart, you have even weight on both. And now as you lift the frontal hip bone slightly, feeling the firming of your abdomen, tailbone anchoring down, lift up the back ribs away from the tailbone. Feel that stretch in the lower spine internally. Then if your balance feels pretty stable, raise the arms up. Rotate the outer sides of the upper arms forward. Press the shoulder blades down the back and maybe begin to straighten the left leg, pressing the heel behind you. Let's take about 4 more breaths here in Crescent Lunge. So bring the slight energy into your feet and legs as if you're dragging them towards each other. Bring your attention to the base of your spine and think of lifting your pelvic floor. Trace your awareness up each vertebra to your neck, to your crown, as you relax the shoulders down. Take another breath in. Then bring your right thumb to hook the crease of your right outer hip down and back. As you bring that feeling of scissoring the legs to stabilize your balance, stretch the spine forward and lower the left fingertips just under your left shoulder inside of the right foot for a twist. Keeping the 2 hips leveled, raise the right arm up and turn your chest to the right. As you breathe in, firm the left heel back and continue to lengthen your spine down the midline of your mat. As you breathe out, from your outer hips towards the midline, keeping the pelvis level, continue to twist at your waistline. If you're looking for a side stretch, rotate your right tricep towards the right wall and reach the right arm overhead here for the last 2 breaths. Keep turning the chest. Relax the shoulders away from your neck. Now look down at the outside of your right foot. Plant your right fingertips. We're going to come into pyramid pose. Step your left foot about a foot forward, shorter stance, so you can spin the left heel down. Feet are still hips width apart and straighten both legs. Now, if it feels like the ground's too low for your hands here and you don't have blocks, then you might take a wider stance, stepping that left foot even further back. Make any adjustments you need so that you have your legs straight as you engage the fronts of the thighs, your hips squared, evenly facing forward, and your spine feels like a flat back, lifting the navel towards the spine. Now as you breathe in, grounding through your feet, lengthen your spine forward from your pelvis. As you breathe out, if you can do so without rounding the shoulders, hinge a little deeper from the hips. For about 3 more breaths here. In Uddita Parshvottanasana, pyramid pose. Feel the sides of your torso lengthen, the sides of your neck lengthen. Opening your throat. Last breath. Now spot the floor in front of your right foot. Bend your right knee. Crawl your fingertips 1 foot ahead of your right toes for a very modified Warrior 3. Look ahead of your fingertips, engage the belly, keep squaring the hips, and shift your weight entirely onto your right foot as you lift the left leg, flexing the toes downward. Drawing the right outer hip slightly back, turn the left outer hip slightly down, and lift through the sides of your waist as if you were in plank pose. Last breath in, lengthen from the crown of your head, reaching forward to left heel. Exhale, step the left foot, hips width from the right. Forward folds. Inhale, press your legs to the floor to lengthen halfway. Exhale, folds. Firm through the legs. Inhale, rise up. This time, interlace your fingers and flip your palms inside out. Breathe in, press the heels of your palms towards the sky. Root down through your feet. Exhale, side bend to the right. Hug the belly in. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, side bend to the left. Inhale, center, and exhale, release the arms by your sides. All right, second side, shift your weight onto your left foot. Imagine you're balancing a book on your head, so spine upright. Breathe in and raise the right knee in front of you as you flex the foot. Pause. Take a moment to balance your left and right hips. On an exhale, slowly step the ball of your right foot all the way back to a high lunge. Trying to keep your spine upright. Let's flow 4 more rounds. Inhale, forward and up. Exhale to lunge. Arms moving with you. Inhale, forward. Exhale, lunge. Inhale. Exhale. Last time. And stepping into a lunge, bring your hands to your hips. Make sure that your feet are hips width apart. You have even weight on both. Bend your right knee and help your tailbone to anchor downward as you bring that right outer hip slightly forward. You can always set the right knee to the ground if you want more support. Feel the frontal hip bones. Lift slightly towards the bottom of your front ribs. Then trace your attention up your spine as you might be now raising your arms if you feel pretty stable in your balance. If the arms are up, wrap the outer or upper arms forward. Press the shoulder heads down and keep lifting up through the center of your spine and crown. Breathe in. Feel the energy of your legs. Breathe out as if you're dragging them towards each other. Lifting the pelvic floor. About 3 more breaths. Maybe you're straightening the right leg if your right hip flexor is willing. One more breath here in Crescent Lunge. Now bring your left thumb to hook the outer crease of your left hip, drawing it down, tacking it back. Try to keep your 2 hips leveled as you breathe in to lengthen your spine forward down the center line of your mat. Set your right fingertips down directly under your right shoulder, and at your waistline, exhale to twist to the left, raising your left arm up. As you press the right heel further back, feel your right thigh firm upwards away from your mat. As your left outer hip descends, lengthening the spine forward, soften the shoulders down your back, hollow the belly as you breathe out, and keep twisting for about 2 more breaths. If you like a side stretch, wrap the left tricep towards the left wall and reach the left arm overhead towards the front wall. 1 more deep breath. Now look just outside of your left foot. Set your left fingertips there. Step your right foot forward about a foot forward, shorter stance, and spin the heel down, both legs straight for pyramid pose. And remember, if your hands are not reaching the floor okay here, then you could step the right foot actually further back. That'll make it easier for you to create space in your neck. So as you ground firmly through both feet, spread your toes, engage the fronts of your thighs. Breathe in to lengthen your spine forward as much as you can, parallel to the floor, shoulders down the back. Breathe out, lift the belly towards the back, even though you're bowing closer towards your left shin. So using the belly engagement to offer support for your lower back. About 3 more breaths here. Breathe in, feel the chest broaden. Chin is a natural space away from your chest. Breathe out, hinging forward. Last breath here. Now look ahead of your left foot. Crawl your fingertips 1 foot in front of it. Bend your left knee. And look past your fingertips, shifting forward into a modified warrior 3. As soon as you lift the right leg, flex the foot. Imagine you're pressing the right heel against the wall behind you. As you tack the left hip back, turn your right outer hip down, leveling the hips. Lift the lower belly, expand the chest forward, get long for 1 more breath. Then step the right foot next to the left, forward folds. Inhale, press your legs to the floor, lengthen forward. Exhale, fold. Sweep the arms as you inhale to rise. Exhale, join your hands together at your heart. So we're going to take a variation of Sun Salutation B. Either have your feet hips width apart so that it's a modified chair pose. The thighs are hips distance and parallel to. Or if you're ready for the intensity of it, full chair, bring the feet to touch, let the knees touch. Let's take 3 breaths in the first one. Sink your weight down towards your heels by gliding your shin bones back so that your toes are visible from where you are. Then as you look forward, hug the belly in and anchor the tailbone downward. Lift the heart, relax the shoulders down, take 1 more inhale. Nice, and then exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift the chest, lengthen forward. Step to plank. Let's lower through a vinyasa. Now this could be replaced with cat-cow if you'd like something less intense. Either cobra or upward facing dog if you're taking the vinyasa. Exhale to downward facing dog. Inhale, raise your right leg behind you. As you exhale, bend the knee towards your nose, round forward and step the right foot directly between your hands. Warrior two. Spin the back heel down, align the right heel to intersect the arch of your left foot, then press firmly through your feet and windmill your arms to rise up. Let's take 3 breaths because we are going to flow through this sequence. Wrap the right outer hip underneath, drawing the tailbone downward. Firm the top of the left thigh bone back, turning the left leg slightly to face the front of your mat. Take another breath in. Then exhale, cartwheel your hands from plank down to a vinyasa of your choice. Cat-cow or regular, cobra or upward dog. Meeting in downward facing dog. From there, inhale, raise your left leg. Exhale, bend the knee towards your nose, lightly step the foot directly between the hands. Spin the right heel down, align your left heel to the arch of your right foot. Firm down through your feet and windmill your arms to rise up. Warrior two. Just about 3 breaths here in a semi-flow. Right leg spins inward slightly to face the front. Firm the top of your right thigh bone back. Front leg completely facing the front. Bend the knee, wrap the left outer hip under. Pelvis upright with an exhale. Cartwheel your hands through plank and add your version of your vinyasa. And for a few breaths, we'll pause in downward facing dog. As you slow down your breathing, create a mindful pace with which we'll practice the next round, flowing 1 breath per motion. In this repetition of movements, in this rhythm of breath, feel a sense of flow. With very bent knees, look in front of your hands. At the end of your exhalation, walk or lightly jump your feet to the top, forward folds. Inhale, lengthen halfway up. Exhale, fold your version of chair, feet apart or together. Inhale into chair. Exhale to rise up. Let's try 2 rounds of a continuous flow, energizing and warming up. Inhale into chair. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Step back to plank, float back if that's what you practice, or lower through cat-cow. Steady breaths. When you arrive in downward dog, inhale, lift the right leg back. Exhale, bend knee to nose, step the foot between your hands. Spin the back heel down. 1 inhale to rise in warrior two. 1 exhale to lower from plank into your chosen vinyasa. Remember that you can always skip the vinyasa too if you're looking for more stillness. Downward facing dog. Inhale, raise the left leg. Exhale the foot just in between the hands, spin the right heel down. Inhale to warrior two, cartwheel the hands. Exhale all the way down. Flow or no flow, we'll meet in downward facing. Downward dog for 3 to 5 breaths, slowing it down. Swimming in the space between the ends of your breath. Last round, bend your knees, look in front of your hands. At the end of your exhalation, walk or jump to the top. Inhale, lift the heart, lengthen. Exhale, bow. Knees bent. Inhale, sit back, Utkatasana chair. Exhale to rise up. Last time. Inhale, chair. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, lift the chest. Step back or float back, however you want to insert your vinyasa. Arriving in downward facing dog. Inhale, raise your right leg. Exhale, step the foot between your hands. Back heel down. Inhale, cartwheel the arms open, warrior two. Exhale all the way down. Flow or no flow. Downward facing. Inhale, raise your left leg. Exhale, step the foot between your hands. Spin the right heel down. Inhale, cartwheel the arms, warrior two. Exhale, vinyasa. Three to 5 breaths in downward facing dog. So we're going to get a little juicier in the hips right now before we culminate this sequence. So bring your feet together to touch in downward dog. Breathe in to raise the right leg. Breathe out and bend the knee, opening the hip. Draw the left hip back. Take another breath in. Then start to cross the right shin onto your mat for single pigeon. Sliding the mat in front of your pelvis, slide the left leg straight back, tucking your toes. Now, if you know this is not a posture that's appropriate for you right now, you could lie on your back and take the supine version like this, crossing the right ankle over your left thigh, flexing the right foot. Otherwise, we're going to be here for only about 10 breaths. So if you're able to parallel your right shin to the front edge of your mat while keeping the hips squared, make sure that you're flexing your right foot. You can also put something under your right glute if that allows your pelvis to stay more balanced. You could stay upright, keeping it more active. You could reach for your back leg, also opening the front of your left thigh. We're about halfway through. Breathe in. Exhale, 5. Inhale. Exhale, 4. Inhale. Exhale, 3. Inhale. Exhale, 2. One more breath. Let's start to crawl our way back to downward facing dog. Lift the right leg up again and just give it some movement at the hip. You might like to shake it out. You might even like to flip it over into tripod back bend if that feels appropriate. Making sure that left shoulder is plugged into the socket away from your neck. Coming back to downward dog, bring your feet together to touch. Then inhale, raise your left leg. Exhale, bend your left knee and turn open at the hip. Breathe in and tack the right hip further back. Then cross the left shin in front of your pelvis, sitting on your mat. So again, if you're going to do this on your back, make sure you make that adjustment to lie down and cross the left ankle over right thigh. Flex the left foot. If you're upright and your left shin is parallel to the front edge of your mat, make sure to support your left knee by flexing your left foot. Hands alongside the hips, scissor the left hip back, the right hip forward, and then take your variation here. You could stay upright. You could backstroke the right arm and bring the right foot in gently, stretching into the quad. We're about halfway through. Inhale. Exhale, 5. Deep inhale. Exhale, 4. Inhale. Exhale, 3. Inhale. Exhale, 2. Last breath in. And again, let's make your way back to downward facing dog. Lifting your left leg up high. Maybe turn out the leg again and give it a shake. Or if you did so on the first side and your right shoulder is okay with it, flip it over into tripod. Back bend. Lifting the pelvis, dropping the head back. Coming back to a regular downward facing dog. Bend your knees. Look in front of your hands. At the end of your exhalation, lightly land at the top of your mat to finish the sequence. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Exhale to rise up. So feel your feet touching. And then bend your elbows apart. Take your right elbow, cross it over the left. Either hook your thumbs or wrap your forearms and palms, setting up for eagle pose. Draw your shoulder blades down your back ribs. Lift your elbows to the height of your shoulders. Justin's grinning here. He loves eagle pose. And then press your forearms gently away from your face. Now feel your navel draw in, center contained, steady your eyes forward, steady your breath, and bend your knees back into chair pose. Now that your right arm is on top, shift your weight onto your right foot. Turn out your left leg. Cross the left leg over the right leg, either flexing the foot on the outside or tucking your toes behind the left calf, right calf. And then gently scissor the left hip back so your two hips are evenly facing forward. If you can, sit a little lower. That'll actually make it easier to balance. Let's take at least 3 more breaths here in Eagle, Garudasana. I asked Justin at the beginning of class today, what's a posture in yoga that feels ambiguous to you? He's like, Eagle. So this is according to our theme today. How do we find a sense of peace and ambiguity? And then start to unravel the left leg through Warrior 3. So you're going to parallel the spine and left leg to the floor, squaring the hips. So we did this towards the beginning. You have the option of lowering your hands on the ground in front of you and bending the right knee. Or maybe this time not using the arms. Fly with it a little more. Maybe flap your wings and add some play and spontaneity to it. Dance your Warrior 3. Have a sense of freedom, and it's okay if I fall, I can come back in. And we're gonna land at the ball of your left foot in a lunge. We did this in the beginning, so raise the arms when you get there and take a moment to ground. Parallel the feet, hips width apart. Draw the tailbone down, square the hips forward. So we have a few options here to add a heart opener. You can either bend the elbows apart and coil the chest up, arching from right under your shoulder blades as you focus on lengthening the lower back, the tailbone down. Or interlace the fingers behind you and trace your knuckles down the back of your left leg. Still anchoring the tailbone down, being aware of not compressing the lower back, and broadening the chest as you gaze up. Keep the bend in your right knee. Let's take about 3 more breaths, opening the chest. Then as you lift the spine upright, bring your hands to your hips and spin the back heel down with your feet still hips width. So you're in Warrior 1. That's it. Draw the right hip back as you bend the right knee just over the heel. Reach the left arm forward. Back stroke the right arm towards the back of your mat. And now as you keep your 2 hips facing forward, ground the left heel and begin to twist upright, turning your chest to the right. Yep, no leverage here, just purely using your core muscles at your waistline. Notice if your spine starts to tilt towards the front of your mat. You could come up just a little bit. Press through the outside edge of the left foot. Press the shoulder blades down your back. You've got about 3 more breaths. Maybe you're looking towards the right thumb. 1 more breath. Like a backwards cartwheel, reach the right arm forward, backstroke the left arm back, and align your right heel to intersect the arch of your left foot, preparing for triangle pose. Straighten the legs, engage the fronts of your thighs, slide your pelvis towards the back edge of your mat and reach your right hand past your right knee. So you're actively lengthening this right underside of your torso as you decide where to place your right hand on your leg or just to the right of your leg. Now draw this right glute slightly under your body, lengthen your tailbone back towards your left outer heel, and stacking your wrists and shoulders, press the shoulder blades down your back and lengthen the sides of your neck. For about 3 or more breaths, perhaps you're gazing up past your left thumb if it feels okay on your neck. Turning your chest slightly towards the ceiling, adding a tiny bit of a twist in Utthita Trikonasana. Reach the left arm overhead. Set your 2 hands on the ground and step back to downward dog. Or if you'd like to flow, add your version of a vinyasa. Deep inhale, slow exhale. Couple more breaths. Then bend your knees and look forward. The end of your exhale, walk or float to the top. Breathe in to lengthen halfway. Exhale, fold in, grounding through the feet. Inhale, rise up, palms touch. And exhale, release the arms by your sides. So bring your feet together to touch here in mountain pose. Then bend your elbows apart like a cactus shape. Cross your left elbow this time on top. And either hook your thumbs or wrap your forearms and palms. Press your shoulder blades down your back ribs while lifting your elbows to the height of your shoulders. Gently press your forearms away from your face. Now feel the belly lightly engaged. Bend your knees together. Then shift your weight onto your left foot. Turn out your right leg and wrap it over the left, either flexing the foot or tucking the toes behind your calf. Scissor the right hip back to re-level the hips squared as you sit a little lower. At least 3 more breaths. Steady your eyes, steady your breathing. Garudasana, eagle pose, is a compression posture. When you release from it, it stimulates your blood flow into major joints in your body, like your knees, your elbows and shoulders. Start to unwind the right leg straight behind you into Warrior 3 as you flex the toes downward, lengthen the spine forward. You have the option of lowering your hands ahead of your left foot or no hands, or play with it and move through it. How's your breathing? You'll eventually land the ball of your right foot back so your feet are parallel, facing forward in a lunge. Take a moment in crescent pose to make sure that your feet are hips distance apart. Bending the right knee, anchoring the tailbone down. And if it feels okay, you could straighten the right leg. Now choose your back bend. Either bend the elbows apart and coil the chest up, or interlace the fingers with the other thumb and index on top and trace the knuckles of your hands down the back leg. Breathing the chest open, draw the navel in, anchor the tailbone down as you bend the front knee and lift the chest. 3 more breaths. What does it feel like to be in this posture of lifting your heart wide open? As you lift the spine upright, bring your hands to your hips and spin the right heel down, still turning the hips to face forward. For shoulders, tall spine, backstroke the left arm back. Then start to turn your chest to the left. As you breathe in from down to your feet, lift the spine from lower to crown. As you breathe out, keep using your obliques, just using them to generate this twist. Maybe you're looking at your left hand. Last 2 breaths. With the arms, like a backwards cartwheel, reach the left arm forward, sweep the right arm back, and align your feet like Warrior 2. Left heel to the arch of your right foot. Once there, straighten your left leg, slide your hips towards the back edge of your mat, and reach your left hand past your left knee before setting it down. Stacking your wrists and shoulders, draw your tailbone actively towards your right heel while lengthening the crown of your head towards the front edge of your mat. You might be looking up at your right thumb if it feels okay on your neck, turning the chest slightly to face the sky, a little bit of a twist. Let's take at least 3 more deep breaths here in Utthita Trikonasana. Feel the fronts of your thighs active. We're going to exit a little differently. Look at your left foot, sweep the right arm overhead, but crawl your hands to the right edge of your mat and come into a wide-legged forward fold, paralleling the feet wide apart. With fingertips down, if it feels like the floor is too low, you could bend the knees or you could step the feet even wider apart. Come up halfway, as if pressing your heart through the gates of your arms. Shift a little more weight forward towards the balls of your feet. Keep the weight sitting there as you hinge from your hips, folding deeper. Now there's a lot of variations you could play with here. You could walk the hands back, you could bend the knees a lot and hold opposite elbows and just let the head hang. You could clasp your big toes with your index and middle fingers in Gomukhasana. And by bending the elbows apart, pull yourself deeper into the forward fold as you lower the crown of your head towards the ground. Some of you might want to come into headstand, tripod headstand, where you plant the hands further back behind your feet so that you can make a triangular base out of the top of your head and your two palms. If you're doing that, make sure the arms are parallel and you're using your hands to push the floor away, creating space in your neck. Now you could either stack your knees on top of the upper arms if you're in tripod, or you can straighten the legs up, flexing the feet. Whatever your inversion right now, let's take about 5 more breaths. Feet are off the floor, slowly begin to lower them. Coming back to a wide-legged forward fold, crawl your fingertips forward to lift your chest halfway up. We're going to turn this into a wide-legged squat, so be mindful of your knees. You want to make sure that you're turning out your legs from your hips, not isolated at your knees or ankles. So turn out your legs entirely so the feet turn out the same direction that the knees turn out. And then start by bending one knee into a half squat and then the other knee into a half squat, side to side, until you can make your way to the floor, coming into sort of a straddle sitting down with the legs apart. Snuck that one in. So as we're sitting down, if you feel like there's a little bit of rounding in the back, you could prop your pelvis up on something if you have something like a pillow, a folded blanket. And then once you're sitting down, roll your inner thighs slightly back. Feel the sitting bones rooting down. Flex your feet. Try to keep your knees pointing up rather than pointing forward. And then as you place your hands in front of you, slightly lift your frontal hip bones as we've been doing in the lunges, keeping that pelvis somewhat upright. Then if it feels appropriate, you can start to walk the hands forward, deepening the posture. Lifting the chest, breathe in, ground the pelvis and lengthen the spine. Maybe folding a little more, breathe out. Give ourselves at least 5 more slow breaths here to be in the space, whatever it is. Observing it. Observing our minds in it. With the help of your hands, if you're folding, lead with your chest, walk your hands towards your pelvis, and slowly lift the spine. Then take hold of the outsides of your thighs, bend the knees up to drag the feet towards each other. Sitting with your legs straight in front of you, the feet hips width apart. Flex your feet, ground your sitting bones, lift your chest. And as you continue to lengthen your spine, begin to fold forward in Paschimottanasana. Seated forward fold. Take hold of something, whether it's the backs of your legs or clasping your big toes. Or you can continue to press the shoulder blades down your back, slightly lift your heart and broaden your chest, opening your throat. Let's take at least 5 more breaths here, as forward folds are generally very cooling and by their nature induce introspection. On your next inhale, begin to lift your chest, then the rest of your spine, coming all the way down to your back. Now, as you lie on your back, keep your knees bent, lift your legs off the floor, and cross your right thigh over the left so that your legs make the shape of an X. If the feet flare apart, gently flex them. Supine cow face pose. Take hold of either your outer feet, your outer calves or shins, or the backs of your thighs, whichever you can reach. And as you keep your tailbone, head and shoulders on the ground, gently pull your feet apart. Let your thighs hug your midline, opening up into the outer hips, glutes, outer thighs, and helping to create space in the lower back. Breathe in, breathe out. Just a couple more breaths here. As we set up for a supine twist, you have the option of adding the extra intensity or depth by keeping your legs crossed like this. Scoot your hips slightly to the right. If you don't need that extra depth, uncross the legs and just bend the knees together. Open your right arm out to the right, press the right shoulder into the floor, and then drop your knees slowly to the left. Only drop your knees to the amount that your right shoulder can stay grounded. Turning your head to the right. Bring your attention to your right outer hip as you remain in this twist. Slightly tilt your right outer hip away from your torso. Let's give it one more breath here. Before we twist, we're going to take Gomukhasana, cow face pose. So lifting your legs, bending your knees, cross the left thigh over the right. Keeping the feet gently flexed, catch hold of either your outer feet, outer shins, or the backs of your thighs. Grounding your head, shoulders, and tailbone, gently pull your feet apart so your thighs hug closer together. Breathe in. Relax the jaw and breathe out. Couple more breaths. So as we set up for the supine twist, you could uncross the legs if you don't want such an intense version. Otherwise, keep the cross of your legs. Open your left arm out to the left. Ground your left shoulder. Scoot your hips a little closer to the left side of your mat. Then begin to let your knees fall to the right. Making sure the left shoulder stays on the ground as you turn your head towards it. Staying here for a few breaths. Slightly tilt your left outer hip away from your torso towards your feet. Let's take one more deep breath. Now, as you roll back to center, just for half a minute, find a relaxing way of lifting your legs up higher than your heart. Whether you bend the knees like happy baby, circle the legs to massage the back some more, or lift the legs straight up, maybe into shoulder stand if that's part of your practice. And take a few breaths to carefully lower your body. If you're in shoulder stand, you might take a brief fish pose just to help counterbalance it. Placing your body in stillness for a few minutes of Shavasana. Close your eyes, let go of controlling your breath, and allow yourself to marinate in the effects of your practice. As you lie resting here, feeling a sense of allowing, surrendering, and letting go of the effort you've just exerted. Can you sense a feeling of freedom in that? Take your time to softly move your body, transition, perhaps by turning over to one side, to an upright position to sit for a brief 2 minutes of meditation. My invitation for the focus of the meditation is to perhaps feel the beauty in allowing uncertainty in some way, finding a sense of freedom in not having to have so much control. That's just the offering. Do as you please. We'll be sitting for 2 minutes. Joining your palms together at your hearts and bowing in. Thank you for being a part of this community practice. Let's close chanting one Om. Take a deep breath. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste.